Aleph. Okay. Chamisha dvarim chayovim b'challah. There are 5 things that are chayav in challah.
I wrote down what they are here in English somewhere. Get it out.
Chamish dvarim chayim b'challah. The 5 things chayav in challah. Hachitim, wheat. Sorim, barley. Kusmin, which is spelt. Shibola shul, which is oats, and shifon, which is rye. All these 5 things are if a dough is needed from them. They join with each other in order to make a chiyuv of challah. We're going to see in where that's only to Rabbanan. They're all also as chodesh prior to Pesach. They may not be harvested before the korban omer. If they took root before the korban omer, before the omer was brought to Omer Matir and the omer permits them. And if not, asurim ad shiava omer abba, they are forbidden until the next omer is brought.
So is that because it's chodesh?
Yes, chodesh. Chamishat dvarim chayim v'challah. There are 5 things to chayim v'challah, etc. It says, when you eat from the food of the land of Israel, when you went to the end of the land of Israel, you should take a tithe unto God. And that tithe we learned is challah. You called could be that everything is chayv and challah. Everything you have to take challah for everything. Talmud lomar mi lechem, from the bread, v'lo kol lechem, not all the bread. Imi lechem below kol lechem. If you're going to say that it's from the bread and not all the bread, and li'elachitin usorim bilvad, maybe it's only from wheat and barley, kusmin, spelt, shibola shual, oats, and shifon rye. Now we know that as well as chayv and challah. The beginnings of all of your kneadings, Kneadings, riba. This includes not everything in the world. We take out the parentheses here, but includes. Take out the next 2 words. It includes many of the 3 other things of spelt, oats, and rye. Okay, take out the words riba, kol. That's from the Meiri. He takes out those words. Rabbi Yossi b'shem Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yossi named Rabbi Shimon said, Tani Rabbi Shmuel. In the house of Rabbi Shmuel, they learned, and the next word should be Cain, not Bain. Oh. They learned like the previous Gemara. Rabbi Yoina, and for some reason the Gra takes out Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Yoina and Rabbi Yeshim, lucky Shem Rabbi Shmuel, Omar, that he also, it seems that they also said it was named Rabbi Shmuel. It's not clear exactly how to read this. The Mashbiach tries to change around, but it's not important enough to get into. Omar Ramona said, as least the Kol Kesarin, I went to Caesarea, Vishamis Rabbi Achbar, and I heard Rabbi Achbar, next word should be, yeah, he took that, but what does he change it to? Rabbi Achbar Bar Zira, he changed it to. I heard Rabbi Achbar Abba, and next then it should be Omar Abba. He said that my father said a different drasha. Raymon's father is Rabbi Yena. And he says father said a different drasha instead of the drasha Rabbi Shmuel, which is from a Rishos Sechem. He says Nemar Lechem Pesach. It says bread by Pesach. But Nemar Lechem Challah, it says bread by Challah. Like the bread mentioned by Pesach, Dover Shubali, they matzah chametz to be something which you come matzah or chametz. Avlechem Shar B'Challah, so to the bread which is mentioned by Challah, Dover Shu Bali De Matzah V'Chometz, says be something which can become to either matzah or chometz through the rising process. Uvarku Matzah, and they checked and they found She'en L'cha Bali De Matzah Chometz, there's nothing which can become either matzah or chometz, El Chamesh V'Im Levad, except for these 5 categories of grain. What about anything else? Anybody they matzah chimetz, they can become neither matzah nor they become chametz. Their fermentation process, a different one, which is literally called disgusting. But it means they don't ferment the same way. It's in fact true they don't have the same enzymes which cause the fermentation of the type unique to bread.
So these are the only 5 grains that are capable of rising to be leavened.
Yeah,
or
true fermentation, right? Okay.
Is that taka true?
Yes, it's true. It's true. Tiny, there is some chemical difference. Many years ago, Leash Neyman gave me an explanation of it.
Oh, that's true.
But
That's
yeah, there is a certain enzyme which is only present in bread, which is not present in anything else.
This paper or something, chem paper.
Right. I don't remember exactly what it was, but
Yeah.
Tani Omer Rabbi Yochanan Nuri says, kirmis, which is a type of poor wheat. Chayaz challah is chayav and chaya. Challah. Rabbi Yochanan Nuri Amar, B'oli de matzah chametz. Rabbi Yochanan Nuri says it's chayav and challah because they can become chametz, matzah or chametz. Rabbanan say, "Ain't a bali de matzah v'chimutz." They cannot become matzah or chametz. It doesn't properly rise. And by the way, it's important to know the Rash Siruleo throws in together with karmas here rice, ores. So they both can rise, but not rise fully. They only become true matzah or true chametz. Ask the Gemara, why don't we check this out? Whether they ferment properly or not? Why are we just taking guesses? Let's check it out. So it says, they don't know how to check it out. They don't know they experiment, they check it out. They don't remember what the results were. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Nuri Amar, but cool, they checked out Umatzua, and they found Shipoli, they matzah, that it can become matzah v'chometz. Rabbanan say, but cool, they checked it, v'lo matzua, so Shipoli, they matzah chometz, and they found that it doesn't come to matzah chometz. So the whole concept of the experiment was necessary, but its results were muddled. Talmud today we learned over there. Seftas Trumos. Tapur Sheriska, an apple of truma which you cut up, and you put it into the dough, and it causes it to ferment. So this dough is also for a zar. Why? Because it already has the qualities of the apple. But that's why Rabbi Yossi says it's mutar. Rabbi Yossi said, Mapli, what's the machlokas? The mechametz meimov. The only machlokas is when you use the apple juice to be mechametz. Mechametz begufo, but if you use the substance of the apple to affect this catalyst, so Divrei Yaakov, everybody agrees. Let's say Divrei Yaakov here. I just made that up.
This is Divrei.
Where am I? I lost my place.
Divrei
Yaakov mutar. Everybody agrees it's mutar because the substance doesn't remain in there, so there's no mamashas of isser there, no significant isser. Rabbi Yossi kedaite. Rabbi Yossi is like his line of reasoning. Rabbi Yossi said this is okay. This apple of the truma in the chulin. Rabbi Yossi says, okay, Kedaite as his opinion. Du Omar, who said, Tamar, he said over there, Ein Tavshilo Tavshil Borer. That you're not allowed to cook an egg on Shabbos next to an urn, right? Because it's not clear whether you're cooking or not. So you can't, and the eggs are kali bishul, so you can't put it there, right? You can't put it next to your urn. Ain't Tavshilo Tavshu Borer. Nevertheless, he held that it's not considered to be a true, even if it rises. We're talking about a case where it's not your one of the 5 grains.
You went back a lot, I think.
I went.
You said that you can shoot a touch, but you went
No, that's the next line.
That's next one.
No, am I wrong?
It is the next line. I think
Yeah.
you would read that line.
No. He also says, Tamon ain't of Shilbor, again, let's talk about where you put an egg next to your urn on Shabbos, or something of the like. You're not supposed to do that, but nevertheless, it's not, actually, Rabbi Yossi permits it. He says it's okay because it's not considered to be true cooking. Ain't of Shilbor means it's not considered to be true cooking, so it's permitted. So, according to Rabbi Yossi, so to over there, just like it's matir putting the egg next to her because it doesn't get bona fide cooked, so to here is matir fermenting this other stuff, the non-grains, because they don't become truly leavened and do not truly rise. Okay? So just like you say, ask the Gemara. There's nothing that can become matzah or chametz el chametz. I mean, bilvad, all the 5 types of grain with the kavasa, ein lecha megarer im kulam. Similarly, there's nothing which connects with any of them. El chitim usarim bilvad. Only things which connect are grain of wheat and grain of barley together with the other things in the Mishnah. I'm going to explain that properly. 1 second. Yeah, Rabbi Hila argues on this in 2 respects. One second. I didn't get to Rabbi Hila yet. That's my mistake. I was looking at that Rabbi Schlein later. Let me read this over again. K'modat Omar ein lecha bali de matzah v'chametz ela chametz milvad. Just like it says, nothing we can call matzah or chametz except if it comes to the chametz haminim. The Kabbalah says so too. Ein lecha megarim kulam. There's none which can drag the others in and make up a shiur together. El chitim misorvad. In other words, rye doesn't drag oats and oats don't drag spelt. But chitim misorim, wheat and barley drag those along because their overwhelming chashivas cancels or subsumes the other issues involved here.
The others are on their own right.
Right, but not joining with anything else except wheat and barley. Okay? The Kabbalah says, Rabbi Eliezer Shibbolok said, Lo sharilosa itza mina chitim mina ores, is only if you make a dough from wheat and from rice. Ve'eno nikra eliim achitim bilvad. That we do not require that there's no greira except with the wheat. Now he has 2 chumras here. He says there's no greira except with the yeah, so there's nothing which drags along except for wheat, and there's nothing else which is dragged along except for ores, except for rice. According to the previous statement, anything can get dragged along. But according to this, only rice can get dragged along. Okay?
Only by wheat.
And only by wheat. Very good. Okay, it says more further. Nevertheless, ask the more a very stubborn question. On toasted rice, you should be chayiv on chodesh. It should be also because of chodesh. It's not a grain, but it says because it says in pasuk v'lecha v'koli v'karmel lo sochlo eretzim hayom hazeh. So I might say that koli also includes toasted rice. Maybe toasted rice is also by chodesh, right? Rabbi Zira said, Ksiv it says, V'lechem v'koli v'karmel lo sochlu. Lechem is bread. Koli is tosel karmel is soft harvested grain. You should eat shechayav v'alechem shlo mishum chodash chayav v'shel koli. So we'd say all these three things are describing the same substance. And something which is bread, for which you chayav chodash, in that case you be chayav also on koli, because of chodash. And she'ein chayav alechem shlo mishum chodash, that in which the bread has no chodash. Ein chayav al koli shlo mishum alechem shlo mishum chodash. Ein chayav al koli shlo mishum chodash. So there's no problem of the vessels containing al koli shlo of the toast being chodash. Yeah. Let me just stand up. It's going to be easier for me. For some reason I got tired. There's halacha that toast. Toasted grain, of course, has chodesh, right? It's grain. But it says in the pasuk separately, v'lechem v'koli v'karmel lo sochlu emetz mayom hazeh. So I might say that koli doesn't have to be lechem in order to be aser b'chodesh. Anything toasted, even toasted rice. So that's why we say no. It says v'lechem v'koli v'karmel, really they're all the same substance. Anything which is called bread and called koli and called karmel, meaning anything which could be bread, could be toasted, or could be soft, that's what's chayiv in challah. So it does not include what? It does not include orez. That's what's chayiv in chodesh. So it does not include orez, because orez, rice, although it can be toasted, it doesn't have the shame of bread. Okay? Rabbi Yirmiyah boy korei v'zira. Let me open the door here. It's getting too hot again.
I'm first warming up. I just took off my gloves.
I did actually took to him. I'm running around all day, though I do not want to.
Okay, Rabbi Yirmiyah boy korei Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Yirmiyah asked for Rabbi Zira. Eruv arba, now it should be it's a type where Eruv arbas rovin b'fnei atzma. The shiur challah is chameshes revayim, is 5 quarters of a measure. So what happens if you took 4 measures of one type of grain by b'fnei atzma by itself, the chimtzon, and you cause it to rise, and then you took another arba rovin, another 4 measures b'fnei atzam by themselves, v'irvan, and you mix them together. And you mix them together. I assume it means also that you made sure that they rose. You fermented them. So you have 4 and 4. You have 4 of one grain and 4 of another grain. Okay. So what's the halacha in this case? Asya the Rabbi Yoina to Rabbi Yirmiyah. So then Rabbi Yoina would take Rabbi Yirmiyah and Rabbi Yossi would take Rabbi Zira. What does that mean? Asya the Rabbi Yoina to Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbi Yoina goes to Rabbi Yirmiyah. Kimod Rabbi Yirmiyah marachu kol lechem. It's got to be called bread. Kach Rabbi Yoina marachu kol lechem. So to Rabbi Yoina holds it's got to be called bread in order to make all the halachas of bread apply. So therefore, even though you have 4 measures of bread and 4 measures of rice mixed together, that's not called bread. Since it's not called bread, so therefore you cannot give it the halachas of bread, and therefore it's exempt from challah, right? The Rabbi Yossi goes, however, like Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Yossi goes like Rabbi Zira. Kamad Rabbi Zira Amar. Just like Rabbi Zira said, Minui kogli lechem. The type is called bread, even though not the specific piece. Kimad Ken Rabbi Yossi Omer Minu Kol Lechem. So to Rabbi Yossi holds that it's called bread because it's in the current state, I guess, it's combined with bread, I guess would be the best way to put it. One second. Yeah, you have, again, let's go over the case again. I have a case of 4 measures of wheat and 4 measures of corn. Even though we didn't have corn in the old days, right? So 4 measures of wheat and 4 measures of corn. So now you want to join them together in order to be chayiv and challah, because you need 5 measures in order to be chayiv. So there's a machlokas. If you hold the definition of challah is only that which is defined as bread, that's not bread. None of them are bread. And there's not enough of the regular stuff, so therefore there's not going to be any chayiv of challah. But if you hold that that it's not what's called bread, but what could be called bread, so therefore it could be called bread. It falls in the larger rubric of loaves. And therefore, in that case, I could say that it's mitzvah if you have to take off challah. Okay?
It's like calling it a Mizonos roll or calling it, I mean, it's not quite the same thing.
Right. The same idea.
It looks like bread.
Right.
And we tacos say it's bread.
That's right.
The wash jar.
That's right. Now, there has to be bread in order to be, but it has to be, so the Tanakh holds that's not enough. It's not just that it looks like bread, or we call it bread, but it has to have the character bread. Okay? Asyut Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Hila, Avagabdu Poligolove. That which Rabbi Yossi said is going like Rabbi Hila, even though in another aspect he's arguing on him. Now, what does it mean? Rabbi Yossi is one who says that it goes by people calling it bread, right? And Rabbi Hila here is the one who said that... What?
It actually has to be bread.
One second.
Yeah. No, that which can be called bread is chayiv.
I'm making a mistake about this. One second. Where is that machlokas Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yirmiyah?
Okay, fine. Rabbi Yossi is on top. It's not on top. At the bottom, almost at the very bottom. Rabbi Yossi says that minu ikar lechem, as long as the typology is called bread, that's sufficient. Okay, so nonetheless, so there, when we come now here to that what you say, Rabbi Hila agrees with him on one thing and argues with him on the other thing. Rabbi Hila agrees. Rabbi Hila agrees. Well, first we really have to see what Rabbi Hila says. Right. Rabbi Hila said, okay, I got it now. Rabbi Hila said rice joins with wheat, right? That was the case you pointed out before. Rice joins with wheat, but only wheat and only with rice, right? That's like Rabbi Yossi, because that's called bread. People call that bread. That's okay, that goes like Rabbi Yossi. But what does go like Rabbi Yossi, because Rabbi Yossi said that before, that's be chimutza barur. It causes evident, clear, unambiguous rising. And the orez here is not going to rise clearly, and therefore it should be exempt from challah. Okay? So that's what the two things are. On the one hand, we take Rabbi Yossi so that anything which is called bread is chayiv and challah. And that makes sense. But on the other hand, we say that in order to be able to in order to be able to say that something is chayv and challah, it has to be able to clearly rise, and this dough cannot clearly rise, and therefore it should be exempt from challah.
Isn't that contradictory though?
No, because you would say that the only things which you'd answer Rabbi Yossi up and say that Rabbi Yossi holds that only things which are bona fide bread and called bread are chayav and challah, right? It's not either or. The Gemara says he argues Rabbi Hila because Rabbi Hila says it's either or, right? It doesn't be both. He says it has to specifically be both. Okay, in other words, it has to be both chi lechem and chi mutza baru.
But if it's bona fide bread, it's automatically going to be called bread.
Well, that's true, but bear in mind, he was looking at the Xeris HaKosov. From where do we know the whole root of the thing? It might be pasha to us, but he was looking at the entire root of the concept of challah, and the challah joined together with two types. Okay? So that's what he's saying here. Okay? Says the Gemara, one line for the bottom, base of Alpha base. Zuger, let's go. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman, Shama Kulu Minahin Kroya. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman learned everything from this pasuk. It's a pasuk in Yeshaya. It says, V'sham chita, there will be wheat. Shura. Shura literally means a row. But here it means, well, whichever one's not mentioned. No, that's the next one. V'sham shura, sarah, nisman, v'kosemes, gvuloson, these are bounded, or they have boundaries. Now where's it goes by? Sham chita, elochitim, that's wheat. Shura, zushibo l'shul, that's oats, which grows like a row. So ayra, barley, eluin, that's barley. Nisman, what's Nisman Zershivon? That's rye. V'kosemes, what's kosemes? Kosemes, Zerkosemes, that's spelt. So all these things we're saying are cases where they're chayav in.
These are the 5 meaning.
Chayav and challah, right? Govalto lechem, what is it? Gvulto lechem, what does it mean? It's bordered with bread. Ad kan gvulo shel lechem. Till here was the definition of bread. In other words, here the Tanakh gives us the definition of bread in Yeshaya. Ask more, Lamein mina Kabbalah, can we learn from Nevi'im, which is called Kabbalah in Hebrew, that which is Mesorah? Rabbi Simon said, yes. That what says immediately after, V'yisrael mishpat elokav. God will force him, will afflict him or torture him with his mightiness. Yorenu, and he will teach us by doing so. So everything which is mentioned in this parak in Yeshaya, Kimishu Dvar Torah, is like Dvar Torah. Because it's saying Hashem will fight for us and be successful against our enemies. So whatever the case may be, I'm not sure if that's what pasuk means, but I'm assuming it's something like that. So therefore, once that occurs, so then we'll have the brachos of Eretz Yisrael. I think that's referring to. So in any event, whatever the bottom line is, so we said whatever it is, it's not halachic. So we said it is halachic. In other words, we can't, since it says there that you want to teach a person from this pasuk, so therefore you can even learn out halachos d'oraisa from this pasuk. Okay? So that's how we learn out from Yisro. Now once we mentioned that, we're off in a tangent. Amar Rabbi Simon, Elay Nashaya, those women, Darman who say, Lo neil b'neil kisha, we don't take our sons to school. In Chamile Melaf, if he's suitable to learn, Melaf will learn anywhere, he doesn't have to go to school. Lovdin Tavus, they're not doing good. Ella, why? Because it says, V'yisrael mishpat, only if you make the kids suffer in judgment, Eloik of Yorena will his master teach him. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Ra'ina ben Pazi, Bar Pazi Shemi Ensign said, the Rabbi Shmuel ben Rabbi Yochanan ben Broika, our mission is going to Rabbi Shmuel son Rabbi Yochanan ben Broika, because it mixes and matches spices, and doesn't put them in the proper order. The time we learned, Rabbi Shmuel ben Shabir Mebrok Omer Yochel May, not spices, I meant grains. Omer Yochel Mayvi Minakus Minishibol Shuva Shrifon. Maybe you could bring the korban. It's korban Omer. Yeah, korban Omer for the second day Pesach. Maybe it could be brought from Kusmin, from Spelt, from Bishibol Shul, from oats, Rashifon, and maybe you could also catch some seafoam, which is rye. So,
Yes? Don't we have a pasuk that's right? That's not the basic.
What? Yeah, we do have a pasuk. It's about to bring Vidinu, and it's a logic. If chitim, which are never kosher for any other mincha, all the ones enumerated, are kosher for minchas omer, so then I'm sorry, I lost place again. If wheat, which is good for all the other menachos, lo kosher minchas omer, it's not good for the minchas omer because it's specifically precluded by a pasuk. Kusmin shipola shova shifon. Spelt Shalo Kashu, spelt rye and oats, which are not good for any other carbon. Shalo Kashu, Shalo Kashu, Kabam Minachas, and no dish like Kashu Minachas Omer, right? They're certainly not going to work for Minachas Omer. Says one that's not a good rye. Sorry, Milchilu. What about barley? Shlo Kashu Shar Komelos, you can't use it for any other mincha. For Kashu Minachas Omer, yet they are good for the mincha of the Omer. No, says Gemara. No, that's not no. No. Man. How can you tell me you don't use barley for any other mincha? You certainly do. You use it for the mincha brought by a woman who's suspected of such behavior. No. So, but that's only there. Tomar, but kusmin, v'shibola, shua, v'shifon, but by all the other lower grades of spelt, rye, and oats. She'ein mincha soita bo a man from which the mincha soita cannot be brought. In that case, it can't serve. What? Can't serve as an omer. Yotzu chitim rakosov. How do we know the chitim are excluded from being an omer? For a pasuk. What's the pasuk? It doesn't really say here, but it says it says that you bring the korban omer aviv geras Carmel. You bring it during the spring. And it says that on Pesach time, and that's intimately connected to.
Become totally cold at night. Okay, the thing that you know the word. So the radical pasuk don't worry about it.
It says aviv there, and it's connected by Xer Shava to the aviv at the end of Parshas Bo. It says in Parshas Bo. Parshas Bo. Vayera. Things in Parshas Vayera. Says in Parshas Bo, Vayera, Vasora Aviv. The barley was still young and fresh, like springtime. So therefore, it was springtime. So therefore, it wasn't damaged by the hail, which came down in Mitzrayim. So he draws there, Shabbos says Aviv by Pesach in the springtime, and says Aviv by the Barad in Mitzrayim, by the hail. So I say just like the Barad in the hail that was not affected is the barley which is brought from Minchas Omer is also, the substance brought from Minchas Omer is also barley. Okay, is that clear? So,
is that true?
Yeah, that's how we learn how it has to be barley. Mr. Zuger, we have to both wake up. No offense to you. It's to me. Listen, how do we know the Minchas Omer comes from barley? Because there's a Xeris HaKosov, a Xeris Shava. It says by the Minchas Omer brought on the second day Pesach, Aviv. And it says by the Makkah Borod, by the hail in Mitzrayim, it didn't afflict the Sora. Why? Because it was Aviv. It was still hadn't properly grown because it's still the springtime. So from this we learn that the only substitute for Minchas Omer is barley. How do we preclude any other substance? That's how we preclude wheat. Now, how do we preclude the other types of grain? Kusmin, Shibola, Shul, and Shifon, right? How do we preclude all of them? Say, Kavachomer, right? A Kavachomer. Certainly they're also. Now, that's all according to Rabbi Shmuel. According to Rabbi Shmuel, they're certainly precluded. Why? Because they're less good than wheat. They're inferior to wheat, and wheat is precluded. And he's the author of our Mishnah. Baram Krabonan, but however, you're top of base on base? Where are you now? We're in the bottom, still base on
4
Aleph?
lines from base on at Aleph.
Oh, it's still in the bottom?
Yes.
Where are we up to?
Rabbi Yossi.
Oh, Rabbi Yossi. Mi Sava Rabbi Yehuda ben Pazi Shemin Chasover Rabbi Min Akusmi. Look, he says, our Mishnah is authored by Rabbi Shmuel ben Nosha Rabbi Yochanan ben Bruka. Our Mishnah had a Havamina that we should allow Kusmi or Rabbi Shmuel. Well, if you look back at our Mishnah, look back at the Mishnah being in the parak. Here the Masechta. The Mishnah said that 5 things are chai v'chal: chitin, soren, kusmin, shibola, shul, v'shifon. So they're lumped together, all these 5 substances. There's an opinion, which is Rabbanon's opinion, that each one is correlated to a prior one. The chitim and soren relate to shibola, shul, and shifon, whereas kusmin are separate, or one of those things. Rye is a poorer form of wheat. A spelt is a poorer form of wheat. And rye is a poorer, and one of them is a poorer form of barley. I forget which one.
Should be spelled.
No, spelt is
One
wheat.
of them
I
is still
think.
going to stand out on its stone.
Yeah, that's true. But the other 2 are subcategories.
Well, I thought barley was the poorest. That's why it's used for the soda.
No, it's not. These are even poorer than the
So how come it's not used for medical soda?
what?
Doesn't the sota have to bring the most inferior grain?
No, an inferior grain.
Oh, not the most.
An inferior grain, right? So oats are a subcategory of barley, and spelt is a subcategory of wheat. But that's not indicated in our Mishnah. So we want to say that our Mishnah is like Rabbi Shmuel, because Rabbi Shmuel holds that they're all subcategories of barley. Oats, rye, and spelt are all subcategories of barley. So therefore, our Mishnah, which lumps everything together, is like Rabbi Shmuel Nosha Rabbi Yochanan Broka. And like him, we preclude everything else from Korban Omer besides wheat and barley from a Kavachomer. Because they're all inferior types of barley, and we preclude them. If we preclude wheat, we certainly preclude these inferior types of barley. That's what we're saying. Now, the Gemara says, Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi said, Mi savar Rabbi Yehuda ben Bazi, shemincha savar ba min akusmin v'shibola shul v'ashifon. Don't think that that's only according to Rabbi Shmuel ben Nosha Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, who makes them all inferior to barley. But even Rabbanan who might argue, and all that there's specific categories, which means that oats, shibola shul, are a subcategory of barley, and spelt, shifon, not shifon, kusmin is a subcategory of wheat. Don't think that according to them, our Mishnah, you can bring a minchas omer from any substance besides wheat or barley either. You think according to him it could come from spelt, from oats and from rye? No, we can't. If I said, I'll give a very strange marshal here. I said, a person says he's asking black figs upon himself. Shema eno mutar bilvonis. You think he's not permitted to eat white figs? Of course he's permitted to eat white figs. He only took an edit from black figs, right? He says he only asks himself in black figs, not in white figs. Hachanami here too. What do we say? Well, it doesn't say nami. Whether you can preclude them from a xerish, from a kavachomer or not, it's immaterial. We know explicitly as a xerish of it says aviv, and it's like over here it's barley, and nothing else. So to over there by Omer it's also barley and nothing else. Shibola shol aviv lo because shibola shol simply is not fit the category of aviv. So the bottom line is interesting. It's that all these grains are also in chodesh, but the korban which is mat to them can only be brought from two of these grains. What two grains can we bring it from? Oh, only from one of these grains. What grain can we bring it from? Only from barley, not from anything else. Okay. Buram. However, now going back to the original topic, we said originally that according to our Mishnah, Rabbi Shua ben Osher, Rabbi Yochanan Broka, therefore he lumps them all together, and there are no subtle categories. However, like Rabbanon, Shloisha Minimim, they're just three overarching categories. What are they? Hashifo min kusmin. Rye is a type of oats. I thought it was the other way around. Oats is a type of barley. No, what's the difference? Whatever the subcategory, let's assume the Gemara is right and I was wrong. Does make sense, right?
Oats are probably the healthiest of all the five.
Well, it's nice to none this has to do with health, but right. Hashiva mean kusmin rye is a form of oats, shibola shul and is a form of spelt, and shibola shul oats means sorim are a type of barley. That's true, by the way, because oats are animal fodder, just like barley is animal fodder, right? So therefore, they're similar. Okay, Rabbanan the Kesarim Boya. Rabbanan in Caesarea said, they made the statement, Matnina, what does it say in the Mishnah? Chamisha minim? Does it say 5 types? Lo! Chamisha dvarim. It says 5 things. So our Mishnah can even go, it doesn't be going like Rabbi Shmuel. You don't have to say that all 3 of the subsequent things in our Mishnah, Shibol, Shual, Shifon, and Kusmin, are all subcategories of barley, and say that our Mishnah is going like Rabbi Shmuel, that's what lumps them together. Our Mishnah is enumerating not types, which would be indicated as minim, but words indicated by the word dvarim, and therefore there's no, you can't make any botanical distinctions the way you want to make them. Okay? Shnei dvarim min echad, u'shnei dvarim min echad. It's possible that our Mishnah didn't bother enumerating, but 2 of these things are one category, one min, u'shnei dvarim min echad, and 2 of the other things are another category of a second min. Okay. Tamatim, we learned over there. Ezu min b'mino. What is considered to be the same min? Hachitim ein mitzarvim makol. Wheat doesn't join together with anything. Ela ima kusmin, only with spelt. Hasorim mitzarvim makol chutz min hachitim. Barley joins together with everything besides wheat. Rabbi Yossi Amar Stam. Rabbi Yossi said this happens all the time. This general guiding principle. Rabbi Yochanan said it's only Tamon b'noshuch kam b'bo. In order for this to work, in order for them to be started with each other, they have to not just be touching each other, which would be like noshuch, biting each other, right? They have to be kneaded together, right? Or they have to be kneaded together. Tanya Rabbi Chia came. Rabbi Chia also learned this. V'kulan shebalulan tvua. Anytime you mix in them.
There's no more official, even if you hold that if you
fried it completely. Ich, the Machaber, Stam, Lahachmer, Kadat, the Rashi. Because don't forget, this one was right. Once you avashal something, right? Totally, you fry it to the max. There's no cooking if you do more. Right.
Yeah, the kula chabalon. Whenever you fully mix them, not if they're just biting each other, if they're actually mixed together, right? The kula chabalon, tlua, k'machi, mubit seikos. Then the grain, the flour, and the dough are all mitzdarif to challah. Okay, ires rashi isios. What if you kind of combine together the heads of two different doughs? So Rabbi Yosef said that doesn't work. V'hei nashuch lav kemu urasu nashuch, when they're touching together, even biting each other, right? Because they're so close. It's still not kemuras. It's still not like interlaced. So therefore, in that case, they're not mitzdarif l'challah. They're not mitzdarif. Okay, they don't join together to make challah, because the only time they join together to make challah is not if it's noshuch, not if just biting, not if it's oris, if it's a little bit mixed together, but rather if it's mamish needed together. Only then is the chiv challah devolved from all of them independently. Okay. Says a word further. What if Taki, you didn't have a shear in each one enough? So you join all of them together in order to make challah. Can be like on the challah the rice or not? Rabbi Yana B'Shem Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yosef B'Shem Rabbi Shmuel, look, he said, hey, looking out challah in the Torah, you don't get malchus on the challah either rice. Such thing. In other words, you have to have a specific amount from each grain needed in order to be chayiv and bona fide chayiv. Okay? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha. Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha said, Reish Lakish kedaite. Reish Lakish is like his line of reasonings. Now, how does this work? Let's say here the mashbiach, because he changed the gears so dramatically. Mr. Zuger? Let's start from on the right hand side, the last column. Ma'ushika al chalos and dvar Torah. Got it? Second paragraph. Where are you? Well, the beginning of the second paragraph.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Ma'u shiyuka chalos and dvar Torah. The hainu im mishtem minim im loket dvar Torah. If you mix in two sets together, you get malchus daraisa. Rabbi Yehuda b'shem Shmuel, and Rabbi Yosef b'shem Rabbi Shirish Loki said, "Ein lokia chalos and dvar Torah. You don't get malchus on the chal daraisa. They mitztarev on midrabanan. The two types only join together midrabanan." Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha said, Reish Lakish, ben Lakish, Reish Lakish Kedaite, it's like his line of reasoning. The Omar, because he said, and this is completely not like our Gemara, Ha-pigul, ha-noisar, ve-tomei. Pigul, right, noisar and tomei. She-shachkan, which you ground together, bitlu zeh et zeh. They cancel each other out, and if you eat a geschmack burger made out of pigul, noisar, and tomei, how many lavin do you bring karbanos for? None.
Oh, none?
Because each one is bata barok. Each one is bata barok. Yeah, we did. Rabbi said, low diamond is no comparison. Tamon ze'osur v'ze'osur. Now, Tamon here, this being Yerushalmi means here. This both of them are also. Kloimar, meaning the brackets here. Ba'asoyos, when you join the two loaves together, and rak shtayim achayim mechala, only two which are connected, which are chayim mechala. And neither can be mevatel the other, so they don't join together. V'zeh chodesh says not a new thing. Asher tevas tamon kayalocha. Yerushalmi all over tamon means here, right? B'ramacha, but here meaning there. By Pigul Noiser and Tomei, Shnei Devorim Rabbi Malechot. The two forbidden substances cancel out the other forbidden substance, and they play around Robin, right? Two cancel one, and the other two cancel one, and so on and so forth. Where am I? Shnei Dvarim Ma'abil Echel V'Badli Maso. V'Kvar Botlu. Oh, you just take that. Let's put the brackets. Second line from the bottom. Ilu Amar Echad. Chamesh Asoyas Michamisha Minim V'Orvan. If a person said he wants to take 5 batters.
Only he could, so Shachar brings a korban.
No, that's not the case.
Ilu Echad Amar Asay Chamisha Siyos.
Doesn't bring a chafas at all. It's part of a chafas.
Right. If a person made 5 combinations of dough, Michamisha meaning from 5 different types, V'irva he connect and he mix them together. Amar Shimon Lakish Shimon V'Amar Shimon Lakish Shimon Lakish says Ein Lakich Losin Dvar Torah. The Yeus. You don't get malchus on them deraisa, and that's a good svara. Now, what are the 3 things here?
Not sure that works. I understand what you're trying to say, but I can't put into the words.
Okay, listen. So let's look at Yesh Boker should be said, right? Even if it's a book. Guys, right? You can still go ahead and it's cold, you can go ahead and what and just whiling around, look at you have a whole meeting like
I'll tell you what he's trying to say, although I don't fully understand how he's saying it. Ilu Amar Echad Asay Chamesha Siyos and Chamesha Minim V'Irvan. You had 5 different doughs for the 5 different types. And you mix them. I got it now. It's like, let me tell you outside and what's going on, and then we'll say it inside. Reish Lakish holds that Pigul Noser Tamar. If you have the Pigul Noser Tamar burger, you don't bring anything. Here, Reish Lakish doesn't hold that way. He can't hold that way. Why? He doesn't hold that way. It's not he can't, but he doesn't hold that way because here we're just talking about 2 different meaning, or at least 2 different meaning. Or even if we have 5 different meaning, there's nothing to be. There's no bittul. Because you don't have any way to gang up. There's no ganging up here. It's not going to work. But we don't see Reish Lakish saying gang up. So that's what he's saying here. How could have Reish Lakish told us that gang up works? Only if he had told us that if you make 5 different loaves from the 5 different meat and put them together, it's Chayv and Challah. And he never said such a thing. If it is, it's only Chayv D'Rabbanan and not D'Oraisa. So, since that is the case, over here you can't get Malchus D'Oraisa. There can't be any. Because there's no way in which, when you join 5 together, there's no way in which they can all become one unit and one substance in order to make you Chayv and Challah D'Oraisa. Again, Reish Lakish, we wanted to know whether there's a way you can get Challah Malchus D'Oraisa on a case where you eat the shiur of grain, of dough, but made up for various different types. And Reish Lakish said no. And the Gemara says, this must be because by Pigul Noser and Tameh, Reish Lakish says that you can't give the guy Malchus because the two cancel the one. Here, Reish Lakish doesn't hold the two cancel the one, right?
Each one has is a Chatzi shiur,
yeah, each one is a Chatzi shiur, and they add up to a shiur.
So Reish Lakish says that they don't add up.
They don't add up, right?
But we have them in the morning.
Right.
Chatzi shiur also, what's the
Chatzi shiur also min Torah. He doesn't hold the Chatzi shiur also min Torah. Right.
So that's there. Now here you have Chatzi shiur of each one of those different and they don't add up either. Because it's not high of a malchus.
Right. Because the ghost my soul is not in Lagame. Listen to this one.
So
As long as I'm holy code. Not like consistent.
Yeah, but that's not what he says.
Yeah, but that's
That makes sense, but that's not what he says, because he says if all five were together, it would work. If all five were together, it would work.
what, for malchus?
Yeah. In other words, it's only when it's 1 and 1. Let's say barley and wheat, he says it doesn't work. But it would be barley, wheat, and spelt, so it would work. But why taka would it work?
So each one is a third of the shiur.
That's only if it makes it better. But if it makes it worse, multiply that somewhere from the door. You hear this? Let's say you're going to burn it. It's okay to put it next to the door. I feel
He's using an example of 5.
Yeah.
So each one is a fifth of a shiur.
What?
Each dough is
Each dough is a fifth of the shear. But I can't make it work out. I also understand what difference should be going to be between 2 and 5. Well, I do understand what the difference is, but he's.
And that's it. Okay, we'll stop there.
I'm stuck with him. I'm going to go back to the Gemara. After all that, I don't know it's going to work out. Let's go back to the Gemara. Maush, let's start from Maush Yukachalos and the Minator Dvar. You have that? Beis on Beis. Towards the bottom. Maush Yukachalos and the Dvar Torah. If you join all 5 of them together, you get Malchus on the Dvar Torah. Rabbi Yonah b'Shem Shmuel and Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Vo b'Shem Rishim Beloka said, "Ain't looking at the Chos and Dvar Torah. You don't get Malchus on the Chalal Doraisa." Rabbi Yaakov Baracha, Rabbi Shimon Lakish Gedatei. Shimon Lakish is like his line of reasoning. These Spalgun, they argue. These Spalgun, we have Machlokas. The Mashbiach's problem, this Machlokas doesn't appear anywhere in Shas. Not in nowhere in Bavli. He says, "Apigul va'noser sheshachba." But here it is. You have pigul and noser without tummy, which you ground together. Rabbi Yochanan Mar lo bitlu zeh. They don't cancel each other out. They don't cancel each other out, and you get Malchus. Reish Lakish Amar bitlu zeh. Now here, that's what Mashbiach's difficulty was. They're mevatel each other, even one substance is mevatel the other. Now that's really, he doesn't like that. He says pigul and noisar can be mevatel tame, and noisar and tame can be mevatel pigul, and so on and so forth. But here you don't have. Here's Reish Lakish saying a very big chiddush. He's saying pigul is mevatel noisar, noisar is mevatel tame. Now here it's not a half a shear from both, right? It's a shear from both. But since you ground them together, each one is mevatel the other. Okay? So that's what he says. It's a mevatel on the terms of Isurim. The mixture is mevatel. So here too, Reish Lakish is going to say by us that also you have the different meaning together. No matter if they're 2 or 5, the Mashbiach tried to distinguish if they're 2 or if they're 5. If they're 2, then you can't. Then it's not batel, and then you can't make challah the rights out of them. But if they're 5 together, then each 4 can be invited the other one. You can have challah the rights. But the Gemara the Gemara, as the gears is in front of us, doesn't make such a distinction. On the contrary, no matter how many you have together, according to Reish Lakish, there's no way it's ever going to be chayiv d'oraisa. Period. Why? Because of this principle. Just like by Pigul and Nosa, which join together, Reish Lakish holds they cancel each other out, and then there's no malchus. So here you put all five together, midoraisa backfires. They cancel each other out, and there's no chiyav challah, right? The only way of chiyav challah is that each one has independently. Okay. Rabbi Yosef says, "Well, diamond, they're not similar." Tamon Amar Zevazeh Osir. Now here I didn't think of this. The Mashbiach Schap. I saw it's very dark what the Meforshim say, but maybe the Mashbiach Schap. At least this will help me. Tamon, which normally means over there, in the Yerushalmi, of course, means over here. So they all learn means over there, like normal. But maybe Taka does mean over here. Tamon Omar Zev is Osir, right? Over there.
What does this mean? It's like it says Yesh Din Lamata.
Over there.
In other words, if things are set up in an orderly din fashion, then Ein Din Lamal. But Ein Din Lamata.
No, it's not going to work here either. Look at the next line. Taman Amar Zev is also Baram Hocha Shnei Dvorim Rabbi Malechum Mevatlim also. There are no two things against one. That's the problem. That's why the Mashbiach seems to be correct. We got to throw in Tomei. Because he sort of says there are two against one, right? And the way the Gemara is written in front of us, there is no two against one. So let's throw in the two again. Let's throw it in. Okay? So what the Mashbiach does is he says there's no place in Shas where Rabbi Yochanan argues in Reish Lakish. Let's accept that from the Mashbiach. Let's take out this Rabbi Yochanan. And let's say it's about a case of Reish Lakish says Neisar and Pigul and Tomei, all three Taka, you can't be chayiv because each one is batel. Each Isser is batel in the other two, right? Even if you have a whole shiur. Each Isser in turn is batel on the other two. So therefore you can't transgress anything. Now, so I wanted to say the same thing here, where you have 5 types of grain, each one cancels the other one out. They don't join together, and therefore you can't be chayiv and challah d'oraisa. And that Rabbi Yosef lo damya. Rabbi Yosef says they're not similar. Talmud Omar Zev Zeh Osir. Over there, you have everything is Osir, and these surim cancel each other out, right? In other words, each of these surim cancels the other isur, right? So, because isurim cancel, that's the nature of isurim, right? Since everything is osir, so each one we cancel, turn and say, well, yes, this is osir, but this osir is canceled by these two other isurim, and so on and so forth. But here you want to say two things overwhelm the other and mevatel it. How are you going to be mevatel? There's nothing to be mevatel here. Oh, this is good. I like what I'm about to say. There, isurim are batel. Something which is not osir is not batel. It's not an isur here yet. If you have something which is isur, it's batel barov. Something which is not isur can't be batel barov. So therefore, over there, you can say that the pigul is batel and noiser and tamei, and the noiser is batel and the pigul and tamei, because halachas are batel. But reality is not batel. We're not mevatel barley. We're not mevatel spelt. We're mevatel halachas. Halach of isur, halach of heter is batel. So therefore, he says here, you want to be mevatel them until before they become an isser. You can't do that. When can they be batel? Only once they become isser. Here, there's no isser. You have to be mevatel. There's not to be batel. Ilu echad. It should be ilu echad. Also chamesh sios v'chamesh mechamisha minim v'irvon. If a person made 5 grains, five ilu echad also chamisha asiyos mechamisha minim v'irva v'amrei shimon lakish ain't like a lesson v'artar yos. If you would find the case where Shimon ben Lakish said that you're not, if you mitzaref 5 of them, You still don't get Malchus. Well, but he did say before you don't get Malchus. I don't know. All right. It's too late. I'm going to give up. I have to come back tomorrow, Shukal, Chalos, and Torah, and so on Monday. I have to see if I can sort it out and figure it out. Too tough. I actually wrote it on the side. I had earlier a whole shot. But now I don't understand what I wrote here. All right. We'll try again on Monday.